Putin expresses gratitude to the Wagner fighters, whose commanders opted to prevent fratricide. The Russian conflict was sparked by an attempted mutiny, and President Vladimir Putin has paid tribute to the pilots who lost their lives. Putin's televised speech on June 26 was the first time he had publicly acknowledged that Russian aviators had been killed in action when the Wagner mercenary group attacked Moscow. This address, the president's first public statement since the armed rebellion led by mercenary leader Yevgeny Prigozhin, confirmed social media rumors that Russian aircraft had been shot down by Wagner forces during the intense fighting. Putin said that the rebellion threatened Russia's very existence and that those responsible would be punished, and that the bravery and self-sacrifice of the pilots who died in the line of duty prevented tragic and devastating consequences. Also Putin's downfall? What effect will the uprising led by Wagner have on the Russian president? Several Russian Telegram channels, most notably the popular blog Rybar with over 1 million subscribers, released classified information about Russian military operations on June 24. According to these accounts, 13 Russian pilots tragically lost their lives over the course of the day-long mutiny. According to Rybar's report, an IL-18 plane and its crew were also among the lost aircraft, along with 3 Mi-8 MTPR electronic warfare helicopters. These upsetting accounts paint a gloomy picture of what actually occurred. Reuters was unable to confirm the stories on its own. The circumstances surrounding the shooting down of the planes and deaths of the pilots were also unclear. Putin claims that he personally issued orders to limit casualties during the uprising. So the Wagner forces abruptly stopped their actions, and Prigozhin followed Putin's order and fled to neighboring Belarus. Putin said that time was needed so that those who had made mistakes could come to their senses and realize that society rejected their actions and that the adventure in which they had participated had tragic and destructive consequences for Russia and our state. Wagner leader Prigozhin released an 11-minute audio message on the Telegram channel of his press service, in which he provided few details about his whereabouts or the agreement that had brought an end to the advance toward Moscow. He claimed that his men had been attacked by helicopters as they drove nearly 500 miles, 800 kilometers, from the south towards the capital, prompting him to call off the uprising abruptly. The unrest was seen by many Western leaders as revealing Putin's weakness after his invasion of Ukraine 16 months ago. In keeping with his weekend pledge, the Russian president said he would let Wagner forces go to Belarus, sign a contract with the Russian Defense Ministry, or go home to their families. Putin thanked the Wagner Group's soldiers and leaders for deciding to disengage to prevent further fratricidal bloodshed. He admitted that patriotism was a primary motivation for most Wagner members. Putin did not mention Wagner associate Yevgeny Prigozhin in a meeting with the heads of Russian security services on the evening of June 26. This included Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu. IFX reported this, stating that a Kremlin spokesperson confirmed the news. One of Prigozhin's main demands was for Shoigu and the top general of Russia to be fired, and by Monday evening, neither had made any public appearances since the mutiny broke out. Prigozhin, 62 years old, is a former ally of Putin and a convicted criminal who has been in charge of forces involved in some of the bloodiest battles of the Ukraine conflict. This month, he openly disobeyed orders to subordinate his troops to the defense ministry. Putin may have prevented an armed uprising in Russia, but his leadership may have been severely damaged. Cracks in the Russian government have been revealed by the Wagner Group, a private military force that has flourished with Putin's blessing and has just halted its march from the Ukrainian front towards Moscow. Russia's ruling elites will now engage in heated finger-pointing over the failed uprising's success. Today we hear from Matthew Sussex, a fellow at the ANU Strategic and Defense Studies Center, on why Wagner's rebellion casts doubt on Putin's rule. The monthly and the Saturday paper present a daily show at 7 a.m. Kara Jensen-McKinnon, Alex Teig, Zoltan Fekso, and Alex Gao are responsible for its production. Atticus Basto is in charge of all technical production. The music is mixed by Brian Campeau. Scott Mitchell edits for us. We have Eric Jensen as our chief editor. Our jingle was composed by Envelope Audio's Ned Beckley and Josh Hogan. 7 a.m. airs new episodes every weekday morning. If you don't want to miss an episode, subscribe in your podcast app of choice.